Hey guys, this is Gordon Said So with your host Gordon. I recently decided to call this daily digest Gordon Said So. I really like the name because it really does say it all. I love erroneous content. I love sarcasm, and I love just like exchanging knowledge, trying to enrich everyone else's life. I think the name really captures it all because one, I am not in any ways a collegiate expert in anything that I talk about. So there's really no reason why you should trust anything that I say. But I do want to talk about it. I like talking about this stuff. So it's just Gordon Said So. And so if you're quoting my videos to your friends, I think it's kind of funny to imagine your friend, where are you getting all this information from? And you're just like, Gus, Gordon Said So. I really like that name. So today, guys, I'm going to be talking about my 10 favorite plays. I would love to create a master list of great plays, and I think this is a good opportunity to engage with you, my audience. I want to encourage more audience participation in these videos, more engagement. So I'm going to tell you my favorite plays, and in the comments section, you can tell me your favorite plays. I just did a video about finding a monologue, and so this will be a good follow-up video. So newcomers to the channel and newcomers to acting in general who haven't been reading plays, this will be a good place for them to start. They'll check out the list and they'll say, okay, I'm going to read this, and this. And I would love to create a master list of just the greatest plays. If you look at master lists online, it's usually just the best reviewed plays, but I want to get those hidden gems. That's why I want the public to help me produce this list. I need your help. I can't do it alone. Share this video. Ask your friends what are their favorite plays. I want those hidden gems that we don't get to talk about too much. Mine are not necessarily hidden gems. They are particularly popular releases in their times, but I do love them. They are my 10 favorite plays. Here we go. Number 1, and this is actually, you know what? Let's do reverse. Let's start at number 10. Number 10, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern by Tom Stoppard. Now, I don't find this play the most incredibly entertaining production when you see it live on stage. Sometimes it could put people to sleep. It's long, and the author uses such, the characters, the way they speak and the words they're using, it can really disconnect an audience member. But if you understand everything that they're talking about, you understand the references, it is so rewarding as an audience member. It's funny, and at the same time, the drama has never been more intense. And Tom Stoppard is part of the fascination with it is what he pulls off in the play. If you haven't read it, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they're the grave diggers in Shakespeare's Hamlet. And so Tom Stoppard is taking a modern look at an old classic. He's putting his twist on it. And just as a writer, he pulls off some fantastical things. Extremely clever writing, extremely clever play. So I think I love it because I appreciate it. I don't necessarily love watching it, because again, it can be kind of boring, depending on who's putting on the production, whatnot. But it's the mastery of his craft that he demonstrates in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that makes it one of my favorite plays of all time. Number 9, Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Now, really, this entire list could have just been Shakespeare plays, because I absolutely love Shakespeare. Everyone knows that. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to cheat my audience like that. So I only picked one. And at number 9, Macbeth is my selection because it's the one Shakespeare play that you really don't have to edit. If you're going to edit it, it's because you want to reduce the cast size. And so you remove characters, you combine characters, so on and so forth. Otherwise, the play is perfect as written. You do not have to edit it. Whereas all the other plays, you have to have someone like curate the script for you. probably not commonly known, but his actual plays, if you read the full text, they're too long. They're convoluted at times. They have outdated references, words that no modern audience would understand. And so you do have to have someone who understands Shakespeare well enough to go in and actually produce a usable script for the stage for you. Macbeth, you don't have to do anything. You just do what's exactly on the page, and it's short, it's brief. It's like almost exactly 90 minutes, as is. Number 8, Fences by August Wilson. This was made into a movie with Denzel Washington. It captures the Black experience, and so brilliantly. And August Wilson is one of the most accomplished playwrights of all time, certainly of our modern era. Extremely influential. But if I had to pick only one of his plays, it would be Fences, and that's why I put it at number 8. You can pull a million monologues from Fences, and each one of them will work. Each one of them works. Sometimes in plays, you can't use a monologue because there's too much additional context that's expressed in the lines before and after that it just doesn't make sense to isolate the monologue and perform it as is. But with August Wilson, it's always a complete contained story within each monologue, so you really can pluck them right out and do it as is, and they work great for auditions. Number 7, The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov. This is the play that Stanislavski really got to test his technique out on. Chekhov and Stanislavski are historically married in a sense when it comes to theater, developing the modern theater and acting techniques as we know them. It's Anton Chekhov, his plays. He's the playwright. Michael Chekhov is an acting coach. He has his own technique called the Chekhovian technique. It's not Anton Chekhov though. Anton Chekhov is the playwright. The playwright, he wrote 4 plays: The Cherry Orchard, The Seagull, 3 Sisters, and Uncle Vanya. His plays are where there are modern acting technique. The method was tested. That's where it was. That's the testing ground for the method. The method worked. The play worked. You can't really separate them. Did the play work because the method worked, or did the method work because the plays worked? You really can't separate them. They go hand in hand. So if you really appreciate the method, then you must also appreciate Chekhov. And I appreciate The Cherry Orchard most of all. He was a master of action. So the dialogue's going on, but the dialogue isn't necessarily depicting the action. And it takes a really good director to pull this out of production, but the action is where the story unfolds. So inexperienced actors and inexperienced directors, we put this play on Cherry Orchard. Look, it's so boring. But if you are experienced and you get to see a production by an experienced crew, it is mind-boggling how brilliant this thing was. It's a Russian play, so it was written in Russian initially, and it's over 100 years old, and yet it's so perfectly relevant. It works so perfectly now, 100 years later. Why is that? Because people are still people. People were people then, and people are people now. And Chekhov was able to capture the minutia of the human experience in small implied actions in the text, and you must be able to read between the lines in order to get that out. I love the play because it challenges you to be better. And if you are as good as you think you are, and you put this play on, you're going to blow everyone's mind. Number 6, A Woman of No Importance by Oscar Wilde. This play was just ahead of its time. When I tell you what the plot is, you're going to think it was written 10 years ago, 5 years ago, recently. But it wasn't. A woman wants to protect her son, who's a bastard. His father left the family. And when she is in the the world of the rich and famous, the wealthy, and she encounters the man who is the father of her son. She encounters him. He in this wealthy environment, this environment of wealth, he now wants to participate in the boy's life. He now wants to be the father. He wants control over the son. And she says no. And he tries to buy her. And she says no. And the woman he wants to be with, a Jew. And this is seen as an issue at the time. I mean, it's a completely brilliant play. It looks at wealth, class, racism, prejudice, sexism, misogyny. Explores all those themes. It's over 100 years old. It's a completely brilliant play, totally ahead of its time. Number 5, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee. It's the movie that gets me for this one. Watching Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burbage perform these lines with just exceptional brilliance. It moves me in every way. Just they have such a claim over their technique, such a reverence. It's unnerving how perfect their performances are in that movie. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Again, a master of the minutiae, the actions that affect our lives, that inform what we say to each other. So it's not about the words; it's about what they do. Brilliant play, and it's amazing to see the power of a good director versus a bad director when you're looking at plays like this. When you're looking at Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf or The Cherry Orchard. Incredible work. And coming in at number 4 is The Night of the Iguana by Tennessee Williams. The main character is a reverend, a male, and he's on this bus. This bus breaks down, and on the bus, a bunch of women, and they break down. And I think it's like New Mexico. I love the play because of sensory work. As an actor, I love sensory work. I always wanted to play this character, Shannon. I'm not old enough, but when I'm in my 40s, I can't wait to play this character. But the sensory work involved with this play is tremendous. You're in the heat, you're exhausted, you haven't eaten, and these women put him through the works. They tie him up, they berate him. It's all this sensory labor for the actor, and that's the kind of labor that I love to do, is that the sensory work, because it's not real, it's not happening. There's not a tremendous heat on the stage in the theater, and so to be able to convincingly make that real, make that come to life, I mean, the audience is always transported and taken away when you're able to pull that off. And it's one of the reasons why I just absolutely love that play. And I don't think it's his best written work, Tennessee Williams. I think he's written better stuff. I think A Streetcar Named Desire might be better, but I just have a particular affinity for The Night of the Iguana, just for the sensory labor that is put upon the actor. Coming in at number 3, Lone Star by James McClure. This just has a sweet spot in my heart. It's so brilliantly funny and dramatic at the same time. I actually produced this play this year back in January. You can find the full production online on this channel. I also produced and directed the companion play Laundry and Bourbon, also by James McClure. As a union, he calls the play 1959 Pink Thunderbird. It's the name of the car that the main character of Lone Star drives. I play the main character, Roy. It just has a soft spot in my heart because I love playing complicated characters, and the character was my age, almost exactly my age, and the complication of the character is he's home from war, And you know, like plays, the background of the character, it's usually not as extreme as war, but war is it's such a huge thing to take on, and I love diving deep into a character. So it was just a great joy to dive into a character who was so traumatized, and then also the play. It didn't take pity on him. It wasn't overly dramatic. In fact, it delved more into the comedy of it. It's a hysterical play. I think we did a really good job of pulling the comedy out of the text. And my director that I hired, Malik J. Ali, who's also an acting coach that I've used. I've taken his classes, so on and so forth. We just had a brilliant time working on that. So it's got a soft spot in my heart. It's got warm memories. I just absolutely adore that play. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would love to tour that play. Coming in at number 2, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Just a perfect play, just written absolutely brilliantly. Every character has such clear motivations and obstacles. And as an actor, you learn, like, that's where you want to start your work from. Okay, what do I want and what's in my way? And it's just so clear. And in the very first scene of the play, even just 10 lines in, there's so much layered, pew, 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 line after line. And it's just layering. And it happens so quick and succinct, and yet it's still enveloping like a normally paced story. It doesn't feel like it's like it's happening super fast. It just, every line is so succinct, so full of meaning, so full of purpose. It's just every line is necessary. You can't cut a single one. Love that play. It's just perfectly written. And at the number 1 spot, exact same thing as the previous. Just an absolutely perfect play. I just like it slightly more. It is The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Part of why I appreciate it more is because Raisin in the Sun, Lorraine Hansberry, she experienced a lot of what she was writing about. The Crucible, the author Arthur Miller, he did not live through the time that he was writing about. He did not live these experiences. He did a tremendous amount of research, and so part of my love of it is I just can appreciate the extremes that he went to write this thing. And what he pulled off is the greatest magic trick of all time. Just the most brilliant play. And it happened to be a commentary of the current political state of the U.S. It was about a commentary on communism and the U.S.'s assault on people they believed to be communist sympathizers. A totally brilliant play. They call it the McCarthy era. They were going after anyone they believed to have communist sympathies. You get great works like Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm. Also a commentary on the exact same stuff. But The Crucible, if you didn't even know about the McCarthy era, you wouldn't lose any value in watching the play. You wouldn't miss a beat. You could enjoy it just as it was. Brilliant play, perfect play, greatest written, just the greatest play of all time, The Crucible. All right, guys, thank you. That's my list. I would love for all of you to add your list, your top 10, or even just one, just your favorite play. And I would love to hear more about the hidden gems, the ones that are not the most well-known plays by just the biggest playwrights of all time, which is basically what my list was. I want to hear about those hidden gems. Thank you, guys. Please post a comment and share this video to all your actor friends. I'd love to hear what they have to say.